The locks had been changed on Josephine's own house. She stood on the porch at midnight, her 6-year-old daughter Lily shaking in the freezing Denver cold, watching her mother's shadow move behind the frosted glass. Josephine had just worked a 16-hour shift at the hospital. She'd paid this month's mortgage 3 days ago. She'd been making every payment for 12 years straight, and her family had locked her out. The door cracked open, chain lock engaged. Her mother's face appeared, eyes cold as the November wind. "We've all decided you don't live here anymore." 6 words that detonated Josephine's entire life. Through the frosted glass, shadows moved. Her mother's silhouette, her brother Raymond's hulking frame, her sister Claire's unmistakable posture. They were all inside, together. Josephine knocked, once, twice. Her daughter pressed against her leg, 6 years old and confused. The door opened 6 inches, chain lock engaged. Her mother's face appeared in the gap, expression cold as January in Denver. "We've all decided you don't live here anymore." The words hung in the air like poison. "What?" Josephine's voice cracked. "Mom, this is my house. My name is on the deed. Let us in. Lily's freezing." "Your brother's lawyer says otherwise." Her mother's eyes were empty. "You abandoned this property. Raymond's been paying the utilities for months. He has more right to it than you." Lies. All lies. Josephine had every receipt, every bank statement. "I've been working double shifts to keep this roof over your head." Josephine's fist hit the door. "You can't just—" "We can. We did." Claire's voice drifted from inside. "You should have thought about that before you started acting like you were better than us." Better than them? Josephine had sacrificed everything. Her marriage fell apart because she was always here, caring for their father while they did nothing. She'd dropped out of nursing school to work full-time when Dad got sick. She'd given up her apartment downtown to move back in and help. And this was her payment. "Please." Josephine's voice dropped. "At least let Lily inside. She has school tomorrow. Her stuff is in there, her clothes, her toys, everything." Her mother glanced down at the little girl, and for one moment, Josephine thought she saw something flicker. Remorse. Humanity. Then the door slammed shut. The chain rattled. The locks engaged. 1, 2, 3. Josephine stood frozen on the porch she'd repainted last summer, staring at the door she'd replaced with her own hands, holding her daughter who'd just watched her grandmother lock them both out in the cold. If this opening has your blood boiling already, smash that like button and subscribe to Formidable Revenge channel, and I love you. Drop a comment telling us where you're watching from, because Josephine's revenge is about to be biblical. Share this with someone who needs to see justice served cold. Raymond's face appeared in the upstairs window. Her brother. The one she'd lent $8,000 to when his business failed. He didn't look guilty. He looked satisfied. Lily started crying, and something inside Josephine didn't just break. It transformed. Josephine carried Lily to her beat-up Honda Civic, the only thing she had left that was truly hers. The car her ex-husband hadn't taken in the divorce, the one asset Raymond's lawyer couldn't touch. She cranked the heat and wrapped Lily in the emergency blanket from the trunk. "Mommy, why won't Grandma let us in?" Josephine had no answer, not one a 6-year-old would understand. Her phone buzzed, a text from her sister Claire. "Stop being dramatic. You can get your stuff next week. Maybe?" Next week? Maybe. Her daughter's asthma medication was inside. Lily's inhaler. The prescription wouldn't refill for 5 more days. Josephine's hands shook as she called her mother. Voicemail. She called Raymond. Blocked. She called Claire. Straight to voicemail. They'd planned this. Coordinated it. Her mind raced backward through the last 3 months. The questions Raymond asked about the house title. Claire's sudden interest in the property taxes. Her mother's weird insistence that Josephine add Raymond to the bank account just for emergencies. Josephine had refused that last one. Thank God she'd refused. She'd been working overnight shifts at Rocky Mountain Medical Center, pulling 70-hour weeks as a medical technician. The job she'd taken instead of finishing her nursing degree because her family needed her. Every paycheck split 3 ways: mortgage, utilities, food for everyone. While she worked, they'd been scheming. Her phone buzzed again. This time, Raymond. Dad would be ashamed of you. You abandoned Mom. We're protecting her from your selfishness. Josephine read the text 3 times. Each word, a knife. Her father, the man who'd held her hand through every crisis, who'd told her she was the strongest of his children, who'd made her promise to take care of Mom. They were using his memory as a weapon. Lily coughed. The cold was getting to her. Josephine drove to a gas station, bought 2 hot chocolates with the $17 in her purse, and let Lily fall asleep in the back seat while she made a list in her phone. Not a to-do list, a revenge list. Because Josephine hadn't told her family everything. They didn't know about the lockbox in her work locker containing every deed, every receipt, every document that proved the house was legally, irrevocably hers. They didn't know she'd been documenting Raymond's fraudulent business dealings for months, insurance fraud that could send him to prison. They didn't know that their father had given Josephine a second will before he died. One they'd never seen. One that changed everything. But most importantly, they didn't know what Josephine was capable of when someone threatened her daughter. They were about to learn. Josephine opened her banking app. The joint account her mother insisted on, the one with both their names, showed a balance of $43,000. Her inheritance from Dad. Money that should have been split 4 ways, but that Dad had left entirely to her, because she'd been the only one who actually cared for him. Raymond and Claire didn't know that account existed. By morning, they'd noticed the money was gone. By morning, Josephine would be 10 steps ahead. She kissed Lily's forehead and started the car. The war had begun. Josephine's friend Natalie opened her apartment door at 11 p.m. without questions. One look at Lily's tear-stained face, and she pulled them both inside. How long do you need? 3 days. Maybe 4. Josephine settled Lily on the couch. I need to move fast. Natalie handed her coffee. Whatever you need. By midnight, Josephine had transferred every dollar from the joint account to a new one her mother couldn't access. $43,000. Gone. She'd also filed an emergency restraining order online, documenting the lockout and citing elder abuse concerns. If they wanted to play legal games, she'd bury them in paperwork. But the real move happened at 2 a.m. Josephine drove back to the house in Aurora. Every window was dark. She used her old garage code, they hadn't thought to change it, and slipped inside through the side door. The house smelled like her childhood. Pine cleaner and her mother's lavender candles. It made her sick. She moved through the rooms like a ghost, collecting evidence. Her father's real estate documents from his safe. The combination written in his Bible where he knew only she would look. Her birth certificate and Lily's. The photo albums her mother would burn out of spite. Then she found it. Raymond's briefcase, sitting bold as brass on the kitchen table. Inside, contracts for the house. Forged transfer documents with her signature. Badly forged, but they'd clearly planned to file them. Bank statements showing Raymond had been embezzling from their father's business account before he died. Insurance claims with inflated damages. Josephine photographed everything, every page, every signature, every fraudulent number. She was about to leave when she heard it. Voices upstairs. Claire and Raymond talking in harsh whispers. Mom feels bad about the kid. She'll get over it. Josephine had this coming. Always acting like she's so much better, so much more responsible. The house is worth $400,000 now. Once we get the title transferred, we sell it and split 3 ways. What about Josephine? Raymond laughed. What about her? She's broke, working poor. No lawyer's gonna take her case. By the time she figures out what we did, it'll be too late. Josephine's blood turned to ice, then to fire. She left the way she came, evidence tucked in her jacket, and sat in her car outside the house until sunrise. At 6 a.m., she called her father's old lawyer, Gerald Hawkins, 80 years old and meaner than a rattlesnake when provoked. He'd loved her father like a brother. Gerald, it's Josephine. I need to file multiple lawsuits, press criminal charges, and destroy my family financially and legally. And I need it done by end of business today. A pause. Then, I've been waiting for you to call, honey. Your father told me this might happen. Come to my office in an hour. Bring everything. Josephine smiled for the first time in 24 hours. By noon, the first bomb dropped. Raymond called her 17 times. Josephine let every call go to voicemail, then listened to them all. Where is the money? You stole from Mom. That's elder abuse. I'm calling the police. Call me back right now or I swear to God. Josephine deleted each one and forwarded them to Gerald Hawkins. Threats, evidence, beautiful, stupid threats. The restraining order was approved by 2 p.m. Emergency order. Her mother, Raymond, and Claire were legally barred from entering the property for 14 days pending a full hearing. The sheriff's department would enforce it. At 2:47 p.m., a deputy knocked on the door of Josephine's house. Her house. She watched from across the street as Raymond answered, smug expression evaporating as the deputy handed him papers. The argument was visible even from a distance. Raymond's face turned purple. Her mother appeared, clutching her chest. Claire screamed something. Then they were escorted out. All three of them, forced to pack one bag each and leave. Josephine waited until they drove away, then used her new keys. Gerald had a locksmith meet them there, to enter her home. It was trashed. They'd gone through her room, destroyed her photos, ripped her clothes. Lily's room was untouched. Even monsters had limits. But Josephine's entire life had been vandalized. She documented it all. Every broken picture frame, every slashed dress. More evidence. But then she found the real treasure. Raymond's laptop, left open on the dining table in his rush to leave. Still logged in. Josephine's tech-savvy ex-husband had taught her a few things during their marriage. She downloaded everything. Emails about the forged documents, text conversations with Claire about forcing Josephine out, browser history showing searches for how to forge property transfer, and evicting family members. Idiots. They'd been planning this for 6 months and documented every step. Her phone buzzed. Claire. This isn't over. We'll fight this. You're destroying Mom. Josephine replied. I'm saving her from you. The truth was darker. Their mother had been diagnosed with early-stage dementia 8 months ago. Josephine had been handling it quietly, managing medications, keeping her safe. But Raymond and Claire had been manipulating her, convincing her that Josephine was stealing from her, that Josephine was the enemy. Elder abuse wrapped in concern, financial exploitation disguised as protection. Gerald had already filed charges with Adult Protective Services. The state would investigate. And when they did, they'd find that Raymond had been draining their mother's accounts for years. At 6 p.m., Josephine picked up Lily from Natalie's apartment. Can we go home now? Yes, baby, we can go home. They stopped for pizza, Lily's favorite from Angelo's on Colfax, and ate it in their kitchen. Their house. Their home. Lily fell asleep in her own bed for the first time in 2 nights. And Josephine stayed awake, watching the security cameras she'd installed that afternoon, waiting for Raymond to do something stupid. He didn't disappoint. At 3 a.m., Raymond's truck pulled into the driveway. Josephine watched on her phone as he stumbled out, drunk and furious. He tried the front door, locked. The back door, locked. The garage, code changed. Then he picked up a decorative rock from the garden and hurled it through the living room window. Glass shattered. The security alarm screamed. Josephine had already dialed 911 before the rock landed. "This is my house!" Raymond's voice slurred through the broken window. "You can't keep me out! I have rights!" He didn't know Josephine was filming from upstairs, capturing every word. "My father built this family! This house should be mine! I'm the son! I deserve it!" There it was, the real poison. Raymond believed that as the only son, he deserved everything, that Josephine's years of sacrifice meant nothing. That being a woman made her inheritance negotiable. Police arrived in 4 minutes. Raymond was still raging, still breaking things when they cuffed him. Violation of restraining order, criminal mischief, trespassing, public intoxication. Josephine came downstairs and gave her statement to the officers, calm and collected. She showed them the restraining order, the security footage, the texts threatening violence. Raymond screamed at her as they loaded him into the patrol car. "You're dead to me! Dead! You'll regret this!" More threats, more evidence. After the police left, Josephine called Gerald. "Time to move to phase 2. "Already ahead of you," the old lawyer said. "I've been going through the documents you gave me. Your brother's in deeper trouble than you know." "Tell me." "He took out 3 credit cards in your mother's name. Maxed them out. 40,000 in debt she doesn't know about. He also forged her signature on a reverse mortgage application that got denied, thank God. But attempting it is fraud. And the business insurance claims? Federal crime, mail fraud, wire fraud. I've already contacted the FBI's Financial Crimes Division. Subscribe to Formidable Revenge channel right now if you want to see how deep this rabbit hole goes. Hit that notification bell because Josephine's about to expose everything. Comment below. What would you do in her situation? Josephine felt nothing. No satisfaction, no rage, just cold calculation. How much time will he get? If they charge him, 5 to 10 years, federal prison. And Claire? She's complicit, accessory to fraud. She'll probably take a plea deal. And my mother? Gerald's voice softened. She's a victim here, Josephine. The dementia diagnosis helps establish that. Raymond was exploiting her diminished capacity. We can protect her. Josephine sat in the dark living room, staring at the boarded-up window. Protecting her mother. The woman who'd locked her out. The woman who'd chosen her son's lies over her daughter's truth. But Gerald was right. Her mother was sick, being manipulated. The real enemy was Raymond, with Claire as his eager accomplice. What else? Josephine asked. Your father's second will, the one he made a month before he died. Josephine's breath caught. You have it? I've always had it. He asked me to keep it sealed, unless your siblings tried exactly this kind of stunt. It's specific, detailed, and it was witnessed by 3 people, including a notary. What does it say? Everything, the house, the business assets, the investment accounts, it all goes to you, 100%. Raymond and Claire get nothing. Your mother gets a trust fund you control for her care. Your father knew they'd try to steal from you. He protected you the only way he could. The words landed like thunder. Her father had known. He'd seen what his other children were, and he'd chosen Josephine. There's more, Gerald continued. He left letters, one for each of them, to be delivered only if they contested the will or tried to harm you. I have them in my office. What do they say? I don't know. He sealed them himself, but he told me they contained truths that would settle things permanently. His words. Josephine closed her eyes. Her father, even in death, was protecting her. When can we execute the will? It's already in probate. Has been since he died. The judge wouldn't release the estate because I filed a hold citing concerns about fraud. Now with your evidence, we can push through. 2 weeks, maybe 3, and everything transfers to you legally. Raymond had no idea he'd been disinherited. He'd been counting on a split inheritance that didn't exist. His entire plan was built on sand. But revenge never goes smoothly. 3 days later, Claire showed up at Josephine's workplace, waited in the parking lot until Josephine's shift ended at 7 a.m. "We need to talk." Josephine kept walking. "You're violating the restraining order." "I don't care." Claire fell into step beside her. "Raymond's in jail. Mom's in a state facility for evaluation. You destroyed our family." "I saved our mother from thieves. There's a difference." "Raymond made mistakes, okay? But this? Federal charges? You're sending our brother to prison." Josephine stopped, turned, looked at her sister, really looked at her, for the first time in years. Claire was exhausted, scared, but not sorry. "You helped him?" Josephine said quietly. "You knew what he was doing, and you helped him." "Because he's our brother. Family protects family." "He stole from our mother, from me, from Dad's memory. That's not protection. It's betrayal." Claire's face crumpled. "He promised me $20,000. I have credit card debt, medical bills from when Tyler was in the hospital. I needed the money." There it was. Not loyalty, not love, just greed. "So you threw me away for $20,000. You don't understand what it's like." Claire's voice rose. "You with your perfect job, your perfect daughter, always being Dad's favorite. I dropped out of school to take care of him. I gave up everything." "And you never let us forget it," Claire screamed. "Always so noble, so sacrificing, so much better than us." People in the parking lot were staring. Josephine lowered her voice. "Get out of my life, Claire. I'm done." She started to walk away. "He's going to hurt you," Claire called after her. "Raymond, when he gets out, he's already talking about it, making plans. You humiliated him, and he won't let that stand." Josephine froze. "I'm trying to warn you. He's dangerous when he's cornered. More dangerous than you think." Josephine turned back. "Is that a threat?" "It's the truth." Claire looked genuinely frightened. "He told Mom he'd make sure you learned your lesson. He has friends, bad people. I think he's serious." For the first time, doubt crept in. Josephine had been so focused on legal revenge, she hadn't considered physical danger. Raymond had always been volatile, but this was different. This was cornered animal territory. "Why are you telling me this?" Claire wiped her eyes. "Because you're still my sister, and because I'm scared of what he'll do to all of us if he goes down. He'll take everyone with him." She left before Josephine could respond. That night, Josephine couldn't sleep. Every sound made her jump. Every car that passed the house felt like a threat. She'd started this war confident she'd win. But wars had casualties. At 2 a.m., her security alarm went off. Back door. Josephine grabbed Lily and locked them in the bathroom, calling 911 with shaking hands. By the time police arrived, whoever it was had fled. But they'd left a message spray-painted on the back deck. The officer taking her statement was sympathetic, but clear. "You need to consider relocating, at least temporarily. These family situations can escalate." "Relocate. Run away. Let them win." Josephine thought about her father, about the house he'd built, about the inheritance he'd protected for her, about Lily, sleeping in the bathroom, too scared to go back to her room. Maybe revenge wasn't worth this. Maybe she should take the money, sell the house, and disappear. Maybe survival mattered more than justice. Josephine stood in Gerald Hawkins' office the next morning, Lily at her side. "I want to drop everything. The charges, the lawsuits, all of it." Gerald removed his glasses. "Josephine, they threatened my daughter, spray-painted my house. Raymond's talking about hurting me. This isn't worth it. If you drop the charges, they'll come after you harder. They'll see weakness." "Then what do I do?" Wait until Raymond actually hurts one of us? Gerald was quiet for a long moment. Then he opened a drawer and pulled out 3 sealed envelopes. Your father's letters. I think it's time you read them. The first envelope was marked Josephine. Her hands trembled as she opened it. My beautiful daughter, if you're reading this, your brother and sister have shown you who they really are. I'm sorry. I hope they change. They didn't. You've given everything to this family. Your education, your marriage, your dreams. You stayed when they left. You cared when they didn't. And they'll hate you for it, because your goodness makes their selfishness visible. Don't run. Don't surrender. They're counting on you being too kind. Too tired, too afraid to fight back. Prove them wrong. The house is yours. The money is yours. Not because I loved them less, but because I knew they'd destroy anything I gave them. You'll build something good with it. They'd only tear it down. In the safe deposit box at Denver Federal Bank, key enclosed, you'll find something I saved for this moment. Use it. End this. Protect your daughter the way you protected me. I'm proud of you. I've always been proud of you. Fight, Josephine. Win. Dad attached was a small key. Josephine looked up at Gerald through tears. What's in the safe deposit box? I don't know. Your father never told me. 2 hours later, Josephine stood in Denver Federal Bank with Lily and Gerald. The safe deposit box was small, unassuming. Inside, a flash drive and a handwritten note. Raymond doesn't know I installed security cameras in the house 2 years ago, or that I recorded every conversation after I got sick. Every lie he told me, every time he stole from my accounts, every scheme he tried to hide. It's all here. 80 hours of video, audio files, bank statements, everything you need to bury him completely. He won't expect this. Neither will Claire. Finish it. Josephine plugged the flash drive into her laptop right there in the bank. Video files. Dozens of them. Dated, time-stamped, meticulously organized. She clicked one at random. Raymond in the kitchen, talking to Claire. Their father was dying upstairs. When he goes, we move fast. Josephine won't fight us. She's too busy playing nurse. What about the will? We'll contest it. Say he wasn't in his right mind. Dementia, whatever. But the house is mine. I'm not letting her have it. Another file. Raymond on the phone, 6 months before their father died. Yeah, I can forge her signature. She'll never check. By the time she notices, the money's gone. Another. Claire and their mother with Raymond coaching from off-screen. Mom, tell Josephine she needs to move out. Say it. You don't live here anymore. Practice it. Their mother, confused and medicated, repeating the words, over and over. They'd rehearsed it, scripted it, used their dying father's cameras against themselves. Josephine watched file after file, her daughter sleeping against her shoulder. Gerald taking notes. Evidence. Mountains of evidence. Premeditated fraud. Elder abuse. Financial exploitation. Conspiracy. This changes everything, Gerald said quietly. With this, Raymond's looking at 15 years minimum. Claire's looking at 5. Can we also prove they manipulated Mom? Absolutely. This shows clear exploitation of her diminished capacity. She's not culpable. She's a victim. Josephine closed the laptop. Her father had given her the nuclear option, and she was going to use it. The hearing was set for Monday morning. Emergency probate hearing to contest Raymond's claim on the estate and address the restraining order violations. Josephine arrived early with Gerald. The courthouse was packed. Raymond sat across the aisle with a public defender, looking smug despite the jail jumpsuit. Claire sat in the back, avoiding eye contact. Their mother wasn't there, still in the state facility, being evaluated. The judge was a black woman in her 60s named Harriet Morrison, known for no-nonsense rulings. Raymond's public defender went first. arguing that Josephine had manipulated their father, stolen money, and was now trying to frame Raymond out of spite. My client's father intended for the estate to be split equally. Ms. Josephine Blackwell has engaged in a malicious campaign to destroy her family over a simple misunderstanding about property rights. Judge Morrison cut him off. Counselor, I've reviewed the restraining order violation. Your client broke into Ms. Blackwell's home at 3 a.m. and was arrested for criminal mischief. How is that a misunderstanding? Your Honor, my client was emotional. His father had just passed 8 months ago. The public defender faltered. Gerald stood. Your Honor, may I present additional evidence? Proceed. Gerald set up a laptop. The courtroom screens flickered to life, and then everyone watched as Raymond buried himself. Video after video, Raymond stealing, Raymond plotting, Raymond coaching their mother to betray Josephine, Raymond forging documents, Claire covering her face in the back row, Raymond going pale in his seat, the courtroom dead silent except for the damning audio of Raymond's own voice. The house is worth $400,000. We sell it and split 3 ways. Josephine gets nothing. She's too stupid to fight back. Dad always liked her best, but I'm the one who deserves it. When the videos ended, Judge Morrison looked at Raymond like he was something she'd scraped off her shoe. Mr. Blackwell, I'm forwarding this evidence to the district attorney immediately. You're looking at additional federal charges. She turned to the public defender. Your motion is denied. The house, the estate, everything. It belongs to Josephine Blackwell per the will that her father legally filed, and I'm now upholding. She signed the order with sharp, angry strokes. Ms. Blackwell has full ownership. You and your sister are permanently barred from the property. Your mother will remain in state care until doctors determine she can live independently or until Ms. Blackwell arranges alternative care. Raymond lunged to his feet. This is bullshit! That house is mine! I'm his son! Sit down, Mr. Blackwell. I won't let her steal what's mine. 2 bailiffs moved toward him. She's a lying bailiff! They grabbed Raymond. He fought them, screaming obscenities, threatening Josephine across the courtroom. Judge Morrison waited until Raymond was removed, then addressed Josephine directly. Ms. Blackwell, I'm granting you full guardianship of your mother pending further evaluation. I'm also issuing a permanent restraining order against both your siblings. If either of them contacts you or comes within 500 feet of you, your daughter, or your mother, they'll go to prison. Thank you, Your Honor. I'm sorry you had to go through this. Your father clearly loved you very much. Josephine couldn't speak. Just nodded. Claire tried to approach her outside the courthouse. Josephine, please. Don't. Josephine didn't even look at her. You made your choice. I didn't know it would go this far. I didn't know about all the things Raymond. Yes, you did. You just didn't care. Josephine walked away, Gerald beside her, leaving Claire crying on the courthouse steps. 3 days later, the FBI arrested Raymond for federal fraud charges. 15 counts: wire fraud, mail fraud, identity theft, elder abuse. His bail was set at $500,000. No one posted it. Claire took a plea deal: 5 years probation, restitution, and a felony record. The house was officially, legally, permanently Josephine's. But the sweetest revenge came 2 weeks later. Josephine brought her mother home. The dementia evaluation showed early-stage Alzheimer's, manageable with medication and care. The state psychologist confirmed she'd been manipulated and exploited by Raymond. She was a victim, not a villain. Her mother didn't remember locking Josephine out, didn't remember the rehearsed words or the cruelty. The disease had stolen those memories, and Josephine decided that was for the best. Some days, her mother asked where Raymond was. He's away, Josephine would say. He's dealing with some problems he created. And Claire? She's working through some things too. Her mother would nod, confused but accepting, and go back to watching game shows with Lily. Josephine converted the downstairs den into a bedroom for her mother. Hired a part-time caregiver for when she worked. Used the inheritance to pay off her debts, fix up the house, and set up a trust for Lily's education. The money Raymond had stolen, $40,000, was recovered and returned. Josephine donated half of it to an elder abuse charity in her father's name. She sold her father's business assets and paid for her mother's long-term care insurance. Everything left over went into investments for Lily's future. The house was quiet now, peaceful. No more fighting, no more schemes. But sometimes, late at night, Josephine thought about her siblings. Raymond was in federal prison in Arizona, serving 12 years. His appeals had failed. His wife divorced him. His friends disappeared. He'd written to Josephine once, from prison. A 6-page letter full of rage and self-pity and blame. She'd read it once, then burned it in the fireplace. Claire sent occasional texts, apologies that felt hollow. Questions about their mother that Josephine answered briefly, clinically. The sister she'd once loved was gone, replaced by someone she didn't recognize. The hardest part wasn't the victory. It was realizing what she'd lost to win it. Family wasn't blood. It wasn't obligation. It was choice and care and sacrifice. Things her siblings had never understood. One Saturday morning, Lily asked the question Josephine had been dreading. "Mommy, why don't Uncle Raymond and Aunt Claire ever visit?" Josephine sat beside her daughter on the porch swing, the same porch where she'd been locked out 6 months ago. Because they made choices that hurt people, and when you hurt people on purpose, sometimes you lose them forever. But you always say family is important. Family is important. But family isn't just who you're related to. It's who shows up, who protects you, who loves you even when it's hard. She pulled Lily close. Grandma is family. Grandpa was family. You and me, we're family. That's what matters. Lily nodded, satisfied with the answer only a 7-year-old could accept. That night, after everyone was asleep, Josephine opened the last envelope from her father. The one marked, "Only when it's over." Inside was a single page. "Josephine, if you're reading this, you won. I knew you would. The house is yours, the money is yours, but more importantly, your integrity is intact. Your daughter is safe. Your mother is cared for. You didn't become like them to beat them. That's the real victory. Revenge is a poison that tastes sweet going down. But you didn't let it consume you. You used justice, not cruelty. Law, not violence. You fought clean even when they fought dirty. I'm so proud of you. Now live. Really live. Take Lily on that trip to Yellowstone you always talked about. Go back to school if you want. Date someone kind. Laugh again. Don't let their darkness steal your light. I love you. I'm with you. Always. Dad." Josephine sat in the dark kitchen, crying for the first time since the whole nightmare began. Not from grief, not from rage, from relief. It was over. She'd won. Her daughter was safe. Her mother was protected. The house was theirs. But the victory tasted like ash and vindication in equal measure. She'd destroyed her siblings to save herself. Legally, ethically, justifiably, but destroyed them nonetheless. Some relationships once broken, stayed broken. Some betrayals couldn't be forgiven. Some family members became strangers. And that was okay. Because across town, in a federal prison, Raymond finally understood what he'd lost. Not the money, or the house, or the inheritance. He'd lost someone who would have given him everything if he'd just been honest. Someone who'd sacrificed everything for their family. He'd traded a sister's love for a house he'd never own. And Claire, serving probation and working a minimum wage job to pay restitution, finally grasped the cost of her choice. $20,000. That's what she'd sold her sister for. a number she'd never earn back, a relationship she'd never repair. But Josephine didn't think about them anymore. She thought about Lily's upcoming 8th birthday, about her mother's good days when she was present and happy, about re-enrolling in nursing school next semester, about building something beautiful from the ashes of betrayal. The house stood firm, the locks were changed, the inheritance was protected, and Josephine Blackwell was finally, truly, home. This is what real revenge looks like, not just winning, but surviving with your soul intact. If this story hit different, subscribe to Formidable Revenge channel right now. Share it, comment where you're watching from, and let us know. Have you ever had to cut off family for your own survival? You're not alone. Hit that notification bell for more stories of justice served cold and karma delivered hot. Remember, sometimes the best revenge isn't just destroying your enemies, it's building a life so good they can't touch it. Thanks for watching. Stay formidable.